Welcome to Walkie Reviews for another camera comparison shootout. In this one, I'm comparing the brand new Samsung Galaxy S24 FE, that's the fan edition, versus the Xiaomi 14T Pro versus everybody's favorite iPhone. And it is the 16 Pro Max, and it is the most expensive of the three. But what's going to be particularly interesting is if either of the other two phones can outperform it in any areas. And also, to make this video a bit more interesting, most of the pictures aren't going to be of me. It's actually going to be of people here at the London Comicon. And in an attempt to make it even more interesting, it is going to be a blind camera comparison. So you're not going to know which phone's taking which photo until you've decided which one you think is the best. That way we can get rid of any brand biases that you might have. Anyway, that's enough talk from me. Let me know which mic sounded better to you. Now let's go take some photos. So here is a photo taken with the primary cameras, which are typically the most expensive sensors and optics on most smartphones. Now, without thinking too much, which one instantly catches your eye? Because I want you guys to decide before I share my observations with you. So you've got it? Okay, here's what I've noticed about these. So if you zoom in a little bit, you'll notice that in the center image and in the image on the right, the shadows have been lifted quite a bit, which certainly brightens up the lady's eyes. And this does look nice, but the lifting of these darker areas may come at a cost of losing some of that natural skin texture and detail. And I think the picture on the left hand side is arguably the most detailed, and you will notice some distinct color differences, with the image on the right having a more magenta hue, and you can notice that in the sky. It does look nice though, but now it's time to see which phone you picked as the winner in this one. Okay, picture 2, this one was taken using the portrait mode, and this is designed to give you that bokeh effect, aka blurry background. The key to victory here is to have accurate edge detection, but at the same time it shouldn't be so sharp that it looks unrealistic. So at a glance, which one is your winner based off your first impressions? And now here's some of my observations. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit closer and see. So if we zoom into the left photo right here, you'll notice at the top of her hair, or the hair on her costume, there's quite a bit of blurring. Now this could be intentional to blend the foreground with the background, or maybe the camera has struggled to isolate each strand, and instead of doing that, it's just blurred it out. The center image appears more precise and has done a fantastic job here. The overall tone of this particular image is definitely a lot cooler, and what I mean by that is it has more blue tones, which also does look nice. Now the phone on the right also did a good job at edge detection, but when you zoom in, there is some unusual digital artifacts here, but you'll only notice them if you really look closely at it. However, this particular image when zoomed out looks pretty great. The tones are relatively neutral compared to the other two, and it's also got a slightly higher contrast with deeper blacks, which some people prefer the look of. Now it's your turn to decide which one of these wins here. So this was taken specifically to test out the high dynamic range, aka HDR, on these cameras. And this is the phone's ability to deal with strong backlighting whilst retaining details in darker areas of the image. Now at first glance, for me personally, it's got to be the image on the right. It's got good detail in the sky, and the darker details on the outfit here are crisp and clear. The phone on the left really struggled in this one, with a lot of the foreground detail being quite soft and blurry. The center image looks good, but not quite as detailed as the image on the right, in my opinion. Now you might disagree with me on this one, and if you do, let me know in the comments. Anyway, here's 10 seconds for you to decide before we reveal which one's which. So this is the same picture, but it's been taken with the telephoto cameras at 3x. So generally speaking, most manufacturers don't put as much effort into these particular camera sensors and optics as they do with the primary. But for some people, telephoto cameras are important. So let me know in the comments, which manufacturer here do you think performs the best? And you will only know the answer to that once we reveal which one's which. So you've got another 10 seconds to decide. All right guys, so let me know so far who's winning this shootout. Now let's do a quick video test and then we'll get into some more photos, and then you're gonna wanna see the maximum zoom test because the results on that one are pretty interesting. Alright, here's a portrait selfie, and many thanks to the lady who took this photo for this video. And this one is really the perfect test for portrait mode, again because of the hair on the costume. This is the perfect challenge for edge detection. It doesn't really get much trickier than this. So all three appear to have done a great job. And I think the skin tone accuracy may be most precise on the image on the left, but the edge blurring again at the top of the hair might be a little bit too much and maybe makes it look a little artificial. The center image has cooler blue tones and what appears to be amazing edge detection accuracy, but maybe that accuracy is a bit too harsh when you zoom in. Let me know what you think about that. The picture on the right is slightly too warm in my opinion, and what I mean by that is it's got more orange tones. And the edge detection here is good, and it is doing some of that softening around some of the hairs there as well, but not quite as much as the other one. So yeah, this one is particularly tough to call. So I'm gonna leave it to you guys. Use your 10 seconds to decide which one is the winner when it comes to portrait mode using the selfie camera. Okay, here's a regular selfie, and yes, it's the Joker, and no, he did not burst into song when I asked him to take this picture. Now, what's instantly noticeable about these photos is how different the color tones are. The phone on the right has added way too much yellow in the image in my opinion, and you can see that on the back wall. I believe the center phone used the white in the image to balance all of the colors, and it's delivered the brightest image of them all, but maybe not the most color accurate. And the selfie on the left seems to be the most neutral when it comes to colors, and if you zoom in, maybe it's the most detailed as well. So pick your favorite picture and let's see if the photo that you picked is the phone that you thought it was. Okay, this is an ultra wide. Again, the camera sensors and the lenses used here are rarely as good as the primary cameras, but the ultra wide is an important camera for a lot of people. And one thing you'll notice with ultra wides is quite often you get notably less detail at the edges of the image. And in this particular area, the image on the right seems to have performed the best out of the three. But let's zoom into the subject of the photo, this lady right here, and let's see which one's performed the best when it comes to focusing on that person in the middle of the photo. So let me know guys, which one has the best ultra wide camera, and now you've got 10 seconds to decide. Check it out, it's Pikachu, and this one was meant to be a test of the colors. And honestly, all three phones did so well here, it's hard to actually tell them apart. The main color difference that I notice here is on the desk itself. Also, the image on the right has slightly stronger blue colors. Something else you might notice aside from the colors is the image on the left has this kind of natural shallow depth of field, which does look nice. But something else you might notice is both the center and the image on the right have done a great job in regards to fine details. You can see the brush strokes on there where it's been painted. Again, this is another really tough one to call, but personally, just based on the colors here, I think I'm leaning towards the image on the right. What about you? You've got 10 seconds to decide. Okay, this one is an extreme test. So there may be occasions when you want to take photos and there's LED lights in the image. And the reason this particular type of image is so difficult is because the speed at which these lights refresh can mess up the cameras. So it really comes down to the camera AI to figure it out with the shutter speed, or to take several pictures and kind of blend them together. So it seems to be a clear win here for the center photo maybe, or you could go with the image on the right. These two are very different, but actually performed really well given this tricky situation. So let me know which one of these is the winner for you, and let's see if you actually picked your favorite phone or whether it is one of the others. All right, now let's see what happens when we push these three phones to their focal length limits. Did the results here surprise you? Because I didn't actually see this one coming. And you know what would have made this test even better is if there had been a plane on the runway whilst I was taking the photos, and as luck would have it, just a few moments later, this happened. So now let's do a quick video stabilization test and see which one is the steadiest in this area. Okay, so here is what appears to be a tasty burger. Now, I got this from Gordon Ramsay's street burger restaurant at the O2 Millennium Dome. And let me just say this, it was the saltiest burger I've ever had in my life, and I'm not exaggerating. I had really high expectations for this place, but I have to say it was disappointing. Okay, enough about that. Now let's talk about the picture. So the most realistic is undoubtedly the center image, in my opinion. The lights in the restaurant were particularly warm and had an orange tone, and it seems the phone on the right chose not to adjust for that. Now, some people might prefer the natural look, and in which case you might like that photo. The image on the left looks okay. It's done a bit more of that color balancing that the center photo has done, with maybe a bit of enhancing of the saturation of the colors there, and you'll notice that on the bun. But overall, I do think it's a win for the center. But more importantly, which Gordon Ramsay maximum salt burger looks the best to you? I'm getting thirsty just looking at this thing right now. Okay, here's a night shot of the O2 Millennium Dome, and at first glance, I think maybe the middle image looks the best. But let's zoom into those posts coming out of the Millennium Dome to see which ones retained the most amount of detail and if there's any digital noise there. So interestingly, the image on the left seems to have kept the wiring very clearly visible, and is possibly done this by raising up the ISO, the sensitivity of the sensor. But what this does is it can create noise in the image, and you are seeing some of that here. The other two images definitely have used a higher ISO, but they've also used quite a bit of smoothing in the sky, which sometimes can actually wipe out details entirely. But overall, when you zoom back out, which one does look the best in your opinion? Okay, so you've made it to the end, and here's the last two shots. This is a 1x primary shot of my ugly mug with what appears to be a CCTV camera coming out of my head. Which one wins here in your opinion? Unfortunately, someone did put their brake lights on, that's why my face is all red in one of them. But just based off of your first impressions, which one do you like? Now this last one is an ultra wide, and there is some bright lights in the shot here. And I do want to take this opportunity to thank the MCM team for hooking me up with a creator pass to the event so that I could make this video. And when it comes to this particular image using the ultra wide camera, I think my skin tones are the most accurate in the center image. The image on the right looks way too warm, but it's done a great job at containing the bright lights in the image. It's almost like they're not even lights at all. And the image on the left does look good. You can tell that those are actually lights because they do have a bit of glow to them. And it's definitely somewhere in between the other two when it comes to the color tones on my skin. So it's tricky to call. Let me know which one of these you think is the best. And here, for the last time, is what phone it is. Now listen guys, it's time to total up your score sheet, and please do me a favor, let me know which phone scored the highest in this comparison for you. I'm genuinely interested in the results of this one, and listen, making these videos isn't easy and it takes ages, so if you did enjoy it, I'd appreciate a little thumbs up on the video. And if you just subscribed, you are now one of the finest subscribers known to man. And don't forget to let me know what other phones you'd like to see in a camera comparison like this. So appreciate you guys, see you in the next one, don't be late.